Welcome back everybody to our series on No More Pain. And today we're going to be talking about Patella Tendonitis. Very common misconception about Patella Tendonitis is that you have Patella Tendonitis and you just need to get the tendonitis to calm down, the tendon to calm down, and you're going to be good to go back to your activities. The problem is that this tendon becomes inflamed, which is Patella Tendonitis, because of other issues that are going on. And if you've seen any of our other videos, you'll know that it's never really the site of the injury that's the problem. You got to find out where the source of the problem is. And typically with the tendonitis in the patella, it's a few different things that's happening. One, it could be quad weakness. Two, could be increased femoral internal rotation when the foot is planted. So we'll show you a few different ways on how that looks. But more specifically, we have to understand that just scraping it and using ultrasound or electrical stimulation is not going to heal the problem. It's just going to be putting a bandage on it. And what we want to do as physical therapists, and as what you want to do on your own with exercises, is being specific to what's the source and what caused this to happen in the first place. Always ask yourself why, and why am I having Patella Tendonitis? It's not just because I'm running and I'm jumping and I should have it, because everyone that runs and jumps does not have Patella Tendonitis. There's some other cause that could be happening. Another major one, number 3, is lack of ankle dorsiflexion. So if there's not enough motion here, you're gonna have to compensate, and the patella tendon may have to compensate for you on that. So one of the ways you can tell if the femur is internally rotating too much is when you're doing a single leg activity and your foot is planted and you're doing a squat, for example, and the knee goes in a little bit. Now you're putting a lot of tension here on the patella tendon. So imagine if a piece of string is starting from here and goes down to the tibial tuberosity. If you squat down, go ahead, and it goes in, that string is being stretched significantly. Versus if I was in alignment, that string is now a little bit more shortened. So that tension that you're having on the patella tendon when you're constantly jumping up and down is gonna cause a lot of increased compression and tension in the patella tendon, causing the tendonitis to occur. Similarly, if you don't have enough ankle dorsiflexion when you do the squat, if that motion stops here, you're gonna have to come a little bit more forward, and your knee may come forward as well, causing a lot more strain on the patella tendon. We're definitely not saying your knee should not go over your toe, because knees over toes is actually really important to train as well. So you wanna really focus on doing that, but the key with knees over toes also is that your heel stays on the ground. So you have good calf length, good Achilles tendon length, and at the same time giving a good stretch on here. The thing that you don't want to do is causing that knee valgus at the same time. Another problem that you'll have patella tendonitis on is if you have weak quads. Now remember, the patella tendon is an extension of the quadriceps muscle. And remember, muscle does not attach directly to bone. There has to be a tendon to that. And so this muscle goes over, wraps around the patella and attaches to the tibial tuberosity. So if this is not strong enough, the area that's gonna take up a lot of this lack of strength is gonna be the patella tendon. Now the patella tendon, again, should be very elastic, but if this muscle can't do its job, then this is gonna have to take a lot more of the load. So an exercise that we like doing specifically for the quad is a single leg tempo squat that we'll show you right now. So we want to set this up a little bit more to be quad specific. So you're going to put your knee against the wall, toe against the wall. And so you're going to be pushing specifically here, and you're going to go down on a 6-second count and up on a 6-second count. Go ahead, slow, and really focus on the quad doing all of the work. So you really want to tell your brain that you want the quad to do the work, because your glutes, if you're very glute dominant, will take over. And this is really good for VMO work and all of the quadriceps, but really focusing on this, and the other leg is up in the air without any contact to the wall or the floor. You can easily do this in a door jamb, holding onto the molding. But the focus is that your arm is not doing a lot of the work. A lot of it's all coming from the quad. So you're doing 6 reps, 6 seconds down, 6 seconds up. Try to get down to 90 if you can. The transition up is the most important. Good. So with patella tendonitis, it's not that you don't want to work on it specifically, but really you have to understand that if you have a physical therapist working on it, or if you're working on it on your own, just doing soft tissue work and releasing the quad with a Theragun or foam rolling is good, but it's not going to be the answer. We got to really find the remedy that's specifically for the source of the problem. So you have to look at your mechanics, look at your glute strength, because the glutes are the ones that are going to really control this femoral internal rotation. And so if you cannot control this femoral internal rotation and your knee goes into a dynamic valgus position, then you're going to have a lot of strain on this patella tendon. So specific glute exercises we've gone over is a sideline clam. You can do a sideline rotation with the knee down, and just you can be very specific to whatever works for you. But think of not just working the glutes in a linear position where you're going into squatting and lunging, but more of a dynamic position where there's some rotation being involved in it, because the glute med is the closest, and the deep external rotators are the closest muscle group to the hip joint. And we want to really target that. And those guys work more in a rotational pattern rather than just in a vertical pattern. If you do have some issues in your ankle and you do have some patella tendonitis problems, a lot of the times the ankle is forgotten for patella tendonitis, and you'll do all the stuff that we just talked about. You'll work on the quad, you'll work on the glutes, really to focus on taking away the patella tendon pain. But the segment that you lost that's closest to this, the next joint, more distally, is the ankle. And dorsiflexion can be achieved and can be the source of the problem significantly more times than more proximally. So just understanding what's your range of motion. So if you do a knee to wall stretch, just to really see how far am I from my right leg to my left leg. And again, don't compare it to any numbers that you see from other people. You just want to really compare it to your injured side versus your non-injured side, because this is your body and everybody responds differently. So a simple test would be a knee to wall test, and then really focusing on how do I increase this joint mobility. And if you're working with a physical therapist, they can do specific things like a anterior to posterior glide, mobilizations with movement. You can get on a slant board, working on different range of motions for your talocrural joint. But this range of motion here has a significant correlation with patella tendonitis if you do have that. So thank you for watching today's video on no more pain with patella tendonitis. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave a comment, and don't forget to like or subscribe our page. Thank you.